Welcome to the Rubio Method. Venture into the unfiltered world of Chris Rubio. The Rubio Method delivers an unapologetically edgy take on the often overlooked world of men's mental health. Rubio, a master communicator, wields a potent knack for no BS enlightenment. Step into this no-nonsense arena, where men are challenged to evolve and confront the man staring back at them from the mirror.
Focus up. I'm talking to you, Jenna. Why am I telling her to focus, everyone? She just informed me that her lunch was cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is absolutely disgusting. I was discussing how disgusting it was with two of our guests on the back. Well, you'll meet them later. They're going to be a good time. But Jenna, my God, there's got to be other options. There's just the whole consistency of it. It's like dirty, rotten milk / throw up / maggots are like kind of walking around in it. And it's weird because I like tapioca pudding. And that's kind of got the same consistency, I think, or cottage cheese just disgusting. Nah, you got me all rattled. Tripping Through Transformation says, let's go. My name is Chris Rubio, host of the Rubio Method. This is episode 77. Holy hell, episode 77. And Jenna says, my other guest says boba crap. Yeah, I've never had that. That's the one with like the massive straws that they should get for milkshakes. We'll come back to this. We're going to talk some food today. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the mental health with teens with a special guest named Craig Hannum. He's been on the Rubio Method before. Phenomenal guy. Unfortunately, I wish I didn't have to have him on, but I do. We're going to talk about, are white lies a good thing? White lies a good thing. This is strictly for my mom. She wanted me to do this topic. I'm going to run with it, see how it goes. Brian Jodas says, prime time. Let's go. We're going to talk about the current state of the U.S. with Brian Jodas. We're going to talk about some wild stuff. Jodas is one of those guys that I contact every once in a while, and I just go, am I losing my mind here, or what's going on? Then we're going to talk about how NFL players, certain players are doing some great things, and one of them is a former long snapper of mine. Then we're going to talk with AC Anthony Cobbs of AC Sports Live. We're going to talk about what the hell is going on with the current state of college football. It's wild, and it's just getting wilder by the second. All of that and much, much more on today's episode 77 of the Rubio Method. Let's jump right into it. I don't want to wait. All right, everything happens for a reason. My first guest is named Craig Hannum. He's a suicide prevention specialist. I've had him on before. He's an outstanding human being. He's troops. You know how much I love the troops. And he's someone that I honestly wish I did not have to have on today. There was a crazy story that just happened over the weekend. I live in Lewiston, Idaho. It's a town of about 30,000. And a recent graduate, an 18-year-old kid, decided it would be better off if he took his own life. And it's obviously rocked our community. I know this kid. I've known this kid for a while. He's one of my good friends' my good friend's son's buddy. And it's just not going well. And we need to figure out what the hell is the issue and how can parents notice anything that can say, okay, this is kind of a code red here, or these are kind of the signs that we're looking at, or what's going on, or what can parents, or what can kids, or what can men, more importantly, do. So let's bring on Craig Hannum, Jenna.
All right. What's up, man?
All right. Hannum, I'm happy that you're on, but I'm not happy that you're on. I don't want to keep having you on this show to talk about issues like this. So thank you for coming on. Like I said, it's always good to speak to you more casually, not about stuff like this. So I just broke it down that there was an 18-year-old boy. I'll say boy because to me, an 18-year-old you're officially a man, but you're a child. I mean, to me, you're a boy until you're basically about 30 years old in my book. Was there any signs for this kid? I know you jumped into it. You're basically the high school liaison. You're the man to go to. What is your role right now at the high school?
So right now I am helping out Kevin Driscoll, the principal, and the rest of the administration as a safety kind of guy. So just kind of roam around, making sure everyone's okay, checking on the students, checking on classes, breaking up fights. You know, that's that, and talking to everybody about suicide prevention. In fact, on October 22nd and 23rd, I'll be doing a total of 8 classes for one of the teachers where she talks about relationships and communication, English, and all this other stuff. And she is a huge patriot. She tells it like it is. And we're reading a book together, myself with the students, called The Things They Carry. It's about a squad from Vietnam and how post-traumatic stress was ignored so badly that it cascaded. And so we're going to have a very open discussion about it. I've read up to the first chapter so far, and I'm telling you, it's a heavy topic. So the agreement is they're going to have me in there. They're going to take their exam. I get the back half of the class because the classes there are about an hour and a half long. And they're going to have questions. We're going to talk. I'm going to give them a short version of my class. Mm-hmm. And I told them, I said, hey, there's the two rules. One, ask any question you want, but don't be shocked by the answer that I give you, and don't judge me for my service, because that does happen. And I love what you said about not wanting to have Beyond, because my goal is to put me on a job and close my LLC. It's not needed, right?
Absolutely. So how are the kids handling it right now? Because obviously Lewiston High School, I think it's about 1,250 students. It's a big school, but not a big school. And our community, it's about 50,000 when you put Clarkston and Lewiston together. But to me, it feels smaller than that. So It's one of those things that just reverberates throughout the entire valley. How are the kids coping right now? What can parents do if they're having to deal with this?
Well, I can tell you, they're doing a lot better. I felt the energy in the halls today and in the classes. And they're starting to get back to that sense of normalcy. And I basically told the administration, here's what's going to happen on day one. Here's what's going to happen on day two. Watch out for this stuff on day three. Mm-hmm. So now I'm more focused on the kid who is already struggling, who looked up to that young man, because he had such an amazing influence, especially the football players, especially linebackers. And what I'm watching out for is my life is in turmoil. I haven't told anybody. I've looked up to this kid. He's the strongest dude I know. What chance do I have? People say, oh, it's the copycat syndrome or it's contagious. No, it's not that. It's somebody who's already vulnerable. That's what people don't understand. That's why you got to ask that question. Have the conversation. Are you okay? Just ask. But they're doing good right now.
So if I'm a parent and I see my kid and he just experienced this, he's one of those 1,250 students, and maybe he knew of this kid, maybe he did not. What am I looking for as a parent? What am I looking for okay, I don't want this to happen to my child. Yeah. What are some telltale signs of, okay, this kid, he looked up to, we'll say Johnny. He looked up to Johnny, and I don't want him to think, oh my God, Johnny did this. What hope do I have? What am I looking for as a parent?
Yeah, the first obvious thing that you're going to see as mom and dad is avoidance. And that happens with a loss as it is. They lose a grandma, an aunt, uncle, whatever it is. And every kid I've talked to, they've lost a relative. However, they don't know how to deal with this kind of loss because they never know why. So watch out for that avoidance, okay? Watch out for being completely disconnected when they've always been, that kid that says, hey, mom, hey, dad, I'm home, et cetera, talking shop around the dinner table. And mom and dad, this conversation that you're going to have with your kid is going to be harder than the sex talk. And you've got to talk to them about it, because the vulnerability that teens are facing in today's age is nothing compared to us. We got bullied, 8 to 3, Monday through Friday? This thing was over, right? Yeah, let's think about it. I mean, let's be honest, we did. And now it's 24/7. The cyberbullying is out of control. The hey, sweetheart, I love you, send me a picture of your bodice, and then use it against you when you hurt me. So you have that. So all of these things are turning into criminal actions now. And social media is the freaking devil when it comes to this stuff, man.
Well, I was just going to say that. And Jenna just made a great point. She says, when you're talking to your kids, make sure you listen to them as well.
Exactly. Let them talk. Let them be hurt. Let them be pissed. That it's not personal.
You just said the exact word, because I was talking to my buddy whose kid was friends with this kid, and I said, he goes, can he call you if he needs to? Because if any longtime watchers and listeners of the show know about just about a year and a month ago, I had a good friend named Jim Gingrich pass away, where he took his own life, and I told him, here's what I went through, and tell me if there's a strategy to this or whatever. Hannah, I went through pissed.
Yeah.
I was shocked / pissed. Like, why did you do this? Like, why didn't you call me? Then I went to sadness. Like, my God, I can't believe this. To confusion. Like, why did you do this? Then I went back to pissed again. And I kind of just juggle between pissed and sadness now, and then the sadness takes over you. Like I was saying, I think a couple weeks ago on one of the shows where I had something come up, and I immediately picked up my phone to call Jim. And I didn't even think about it. Like I was going to my favorites, like, I was like, what the am I doing? So am I wrong on that? Is that what this kid's going to experience?
You're not wrong at all. And a lot of the kids have been going through that where they're pissed off and in disbelief. For a while, it was sheer disbelief. Like, no, this can't be true. This can't be true. And then back to pissed. And people are like, oh, just go through the 5 stages of grief. You'll be fine. Not when there's a suicide.
Yeah.
It's not a normal response where you can take those 5 stages, sadness, grief, et cetera, yada, yada. No, being pissed first is an honest emotion. And I talked to one kid and he's like, Craig, why am I so mad? I'm like, because you're hurt. It's affecting you personally. Remember I asked that question a while back, say, do you think suicide is selfish? And some people say no, some people say yes. And it's always how it affects you. Because we can't make people feel how we feel. And I didn't know the kid, but when I see the reactions on these kids' faces, you can't help but get your heart broke a little bit. And
100%.
It's so hard because my wife had to remind me. She's like, Craig, you can't save everybody. And that's hard to swallow. It's reality, it's the truth. But every kid there's like, well, why didn't he know you sooner? So that's been coming up because of the disbelief. And then the rage and just being so freaking pissed off that you just want to break some old furniture. You want to find somebody to be pissed at. That's been happening as well. And we've been killing that. We're like, hey, the only person who is at fault here is that young man. And that's hard for some people to hear. And that's why we're not saying his name, because we understand that it's sensitive right now. The family's going through a lot. Because how do you accept that as a parent?
Jenna makes a great point as a parent. She says, don't be scared of what the kids might say. Make them comfortable and don't punish them for being honest. Yeah, they're going to let them talk. If they have this feeling, you can't say, well, that's the wrong feeling. It's their feeling. Like you can't tell Rubio, cottage cheese is delicious. I can say, no, it sucks ass. I'm not eating cottage cheese. You can't tell me my feelings are wrong on this one. You can enjoy cottage cheese. More power to you. Jenna, God love her. She likes it. She's got terrible taste buds because of the whole poutine issue in her life. But it's one of those things that you have to let them go. And the thing I was thinking about, 2 things when I first heard about this kid doing this. Like, I immediately told my wife, I go, my God, 18 years old. He's a child. Like you have so much more in life to go. Like and I understand at 18, you think you know everything. Everyone does at 18. We've all been at 18. It's one of those things that you have to be able to look more than 1 second ahead. Whether your boyfriend breaks up with you, your girlfriend breaks up with you, get into an accident, you get in trouble, you've done this, you stepped on a nail. I don't know what it is. It's not the end of the world unless you make it the end of the world. And we don't want to make the end of the world.
Exactly. You've got to be approachable. You can't be, here's the struggle that we have in rural America, North America. We have 2 causalities. One is lack of services. Okay. I mean, we got to go to Spokane, Moscow, Pullman, whatever it might be, to get services. And then mom and dad have to take time off work. And then the other causality is blue collar, heavy demographic. Men with calloused hands, with beards, who have been out in the elements all day for 14 hours. They don't want to sit around the dinner table and talk about feelings. That's what we got to change, because this is a feeling. We used to say back in the day, what are you thinking? No. What are you feeling? Because it is a negative emotional response to a life issue. And they created it.
I think it's good that you are doing it, because you can't really tell right now because the camera's a little high on you, but you're not a small man. I mean, you're a man's man. You've been in the army, all that stuff. You're a patriot, and you're 6'2", 230. I mean, I don't know what the hell you weigh, but that's, I think it's good for the kids to see you doing it, because it's not like some feeble, as they say, person. It's like, hey man, I'm talking about this. Look at me. I'm a badass. I mean, I think that's a good role model to have. On that note, if you need me to come into your class and talk with them, Hannah, I have no problem doing that. You know me, I'll talk about anything.
I think they would love that, truly. So more details to follow on that on the 22nd, 23rd of October. But the other thing that's been happening is the kids are like, why aren't they responding? How come that person isn't responding? They knew who he was. I was like, stop.
Everyone's different.
They're not going to feel like you feel. You had a closer relationship with them. They knew of him. So if they're laughing and giggling and enjoying life, you can't fault them for that. But loss brings people together. Suffering brings people together.
Cool.
Victory brings people together. And I've started to notice that people are really starting to gel, and we're getting back into that normalcy. But I'll tell you, man, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday was very rough.
I can imagine. Jenna, can you put up Dave Bradley's comment? I couldn't see it.
Yeah, I saw that.
You have to have the relationship with your kids initially for them to pay attention to you. Yeah, that's a great point. We were just talking about this on Decades a couple of days ago. You can't expect a teenager to all of a sudden be a great teenager if you haven't raised them from a toddler to be a great kid. And it's like a puppy. Right. You can't have a puppy that's just rabid all over the place and then at age 10 say, okay, I want you to sit and not take a piss on their bed. Like, no, he's been doing that for 10 years. Why would he switch now? And
I was out and about, and you know how the valley is. You know, you and I live 15 minutes apart, and you can't go anywhere without running into somebody you know. Okay, it's rare. And one concerned mom, and we didn't talk details because I'm not going to do that. And she says, well, how do I know that my kid who's in elementary school is going to be prepared for the environment of high school? And I got really close, and I was like, that's your job, Mom.
100%.
When they get to us, we will teach them how to conform to rules, to processes, to all these things, and help them, guide them along in the 8 hours that we have them to prepare them for college, for the adulthood, all that other stuff. Everything else is on Mom and Dad.
Well, and I think a big part of that, especially in the Valley, and I've told all my kids this that are up here, I said, we hang out with certain groups of people. Okay, that certain group of people has the same permission that I have with you. So if you act like an ass around them, they have permission to beat you because they know that I would allow it as well. And so now I used to tell them, and I still tell them, wherever you go, okay, there's me. Okay, because you're going to go to this house and they're going to treat you the same exact way that I am. Maybe not as rude and vulgar, but I know they have the same core values. And I think that's a big thing, especially like in smaller towns, things like that, or even bigger towns where you just got to keep a small unit.
Yeah, like you're saying, it comes into play, the 12 rules for life, right?
Mm-hmm.
That book. Rules, remember, do not let your kids do something that's going to make you dislike them.
100%.
That's one of his rules, remember? So it's like, okay, make mistakes. I'll admit it. I made a mistake this week, but I just want to make sure that kids are being safe,
Yeah.
And sometimes if you cross that line, people get pissed about it. And since the vibe of the Valley right now is just, it's the blame game, and the response that we got, was like, okay, hey, I'm just making sure people are okay.
Yeah.
That's all. My background speaks for itself. I'm not some weirdo. I truly care about these kids because they should not have to learn how to deal with suicide at such a young age. They shouldn't have to worry about, is someone going to come into the building and go nuts? You shouldn't have to worry about that crap. Back in our day, I was a sophomore when I was first exposed to a suicide. Her name was Jenny Urban. We knew there was problems with the boyfriend. So when she died, guess what all of us wanted to do? Beat the crap out of the boyfriend. Because we didn't know how to deal with it. We just didn't know. And we got up close to him. He's in his truck and he's just bawling, Chris. He's just done. We're like, oh, shit. All right, man. Hey, come here. What do you need, dude? We're so sorry. We were going to blame you. Counselor followed us because our trucks were parked off the campus. And she's like, guys, you have to realize. And that was the first time I heard somebody say, the only person at fault is the person who did it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm trying to change the culture and how we talk about things. Like, I never say the word committed. So I've been telling the kids, hey, just try it. Stop saying he committed suicide because rapists commit rape and murderers commit murder. Don't look at it as a criminal act. He lost his battle to mental health. The demons, they got him. Hopelessness, helplessness. Was there anything else involved there? Substances? Man, I don't know. I wasn't there. But I'll tell you the truth. It's very rare that those elements are not there.
Yeah. So Hannah,
nobody wakes up over and says, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah, the main thing I'm hearing over and over and over, and if you want to put a pin on this one, is communication. Communication.
Yeah,
And it's one of those things where, and every parent, trust me, I'm not the world's greatest communicator. Well, maybe I am, but it's one of those things of like when you're asking your kid, how was your day? And they do the standard, fine. You got to say, no, give me a full
answer.
That's not
periods.
Yeah.
How was history? How was English? How was band? How was practice?
How was lunch?
How was lunch? Because we fit, 600-700 kids in a very small area. And I just walk around and we all talk to them, say, hey, how you doing? I focus on the kids sitting alone. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Well, I'm good. Well, if you don't mind me asking, why are you sitting alone? This is my quiet time. I put my headphones on and I'm good. I said, okay, so it's by choice, not because something's going on. No. And you'd be surprised because one kid told me, he goes, well, I'm having a problem with my friends. They're choosing to hang out with somebody who's very toxic and I had to separate. And I was like, okay. I told him, I said, don't worry, they'll come back to you. I kid you not, Chris, like 2 weeks later, and I was watching him like a hawk. His table was full again. When I walked past him, I fist bumped him and I just kind of gave him a look. And afterwards, he's like, you're right. You just got to be patient. So mom and dad, be patient with your kids. If they're hurting, give them some help. My number's listed on LinkedIn. I was
going to say, you guys find Craig Hannum. It's Hannum. I think Jenna's had it up there. Craig Hannum, Craig with a C, Hannum with an Hannum. There it is. If you have any questions, Hannum, once again, I appreciate you coming on. I hope I don't have to have you on again for this reason.
I know, brother. Me too.
Jenna?
Me too.
I'm out.
You have been watching The Rubio Method. Take it away, Rubio.
Focus up to all the parents out there. Make sure you are communicating. Try to get your kids to say at least one sentence answers, let alone one word answers. Welcome back to episode 77 of the Rubio Method. My name is Chris Rubio. We're live on X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. We'll be on Spotify and iTunes tomorrow, the podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share and all that good stuff. If you have any comments, like Dave Bradley, the Wisdom Rabbit, you feel free to send them in at any point. You have any questions, shoot them in. You can also always email Rubio at therubiomethod.com. Let's jump into a little bit more lighter of a subject. More lighter? I don't think more needed right there. There are winners and losers in life. All right, Mom, this is for you. Are white lies good for everyone? Okay, so what I mean by this, like when I was growing up, my mom raised me by herself, single mom. She did a good job most of the time. Let's just say we didn't have a lot of money. So she would take me to the pet store. Okay. Every kid loves going to the pet store. And it wasn't like a Petco or PetSmart. This was just like a mom and pop pet store. So it was like, maybe 800 square feet. And she would tell me, that's the zoo. She'd say, you want to go to the zoo, Christopher? I'd say, okay, let's go. And it was the pet store. I learned later on in life, okay. And then she used to take me to a fish store, not like throwing fish or eating fish. We're talking like aquarium fish. And guess what that was called? SeaWorld. So my saying is, are those white lies good? And Jenna kind of said, yes, they are. And another one, that was a great one. My mom told me that it was illegal for kids to have drinks if you ever went out to a restaurant. So like how she could get an iced tea or a Diet Coke or something like that. She wasn't a booze drinker, so she never got anything like that. She would tell me it was illegal, like literally against the law for kids to have soda. And so if I saw, like, you obviously see kids having a soda in the restaurant, she goes, well, they're breaking the law, Christopher. I don't know. If the police come in right now, they're going to take you to jail. And the reason was because she didn't want me to have soda because we couldn't afford it. And I would say, well, can I at least get dessert? Because you'd see all these beautiful dessert pictures and all that stuff. No, you can't. We'll go to Thrifty's ice cream. It's better. Thrifty's is like a Walgreens, CVS. I don't know if they still even have them. But why did she take me there? Because it was 15 cents instead of $4 for whatever, chocolate avalanche cake or whatever. So are white lies good? Jenna says a white lie can protect the innocence of a child. Okay, yeah, I'll give you that, Hannum. Jenna says this is gold. She loves my mom. Yeah. What about Mama Rubio? You kept you squared away, dude, and didn't expose you to the lack of money. 100%. What about holiday lies? Are those acceptable? I'm not going to say whatever holiday lie you may be thinking, just because there might be some children watching, but are those acceptable? I'll tell you one that I tell all the time, and my kid just figured it out because he's older now. Damon Dale always likes McDonald's. I don't like to take him there all the time because McDonald's is obviously, let's just admit it, it's not the healthiest of foods. He'd always want to eat and go to the Playland. Unfortunately for him, every time I took him to McDonald's, the Playland was closed. So it sucks to be him that he's never gone to the playland with me. But it's weird because if anyone ever comes and babysits him while my wife and I go on vacation, the playland is always open for them. It's kind of weird how that one works out. So I'm going to say white lies are a good thing. I think that's the way I'm leaning. I don't know. Hannum or Jenna, are you saying yes, they are? Hannum says they are. Okay, so that's good. And I know Jenna already says they are. Yeah, she says they are. So I guess the issue would be how. Okay, yeah, and they're good for everyone because like if your wife comes in and she's wearing an outfit and says, well, how do I look in this? You're not going to say, Jesus, God, you look like hell. I mean, even I wouldn't do that. You'd have to just say, oh, that looks good. And then how do you get out of that though? Is there a way to get out of that? Okay, I don't know. Well, there's my little topic for the day. Let's move on, shall we? Accept and embrace. All right, bring them on, Jenna. Bring on Brian Jodas. Brian,
I have so many things to say. I have so many things to say.
You want to? Let me just introduce you real quick. Brian Jodas. I refer to him as my sounding board because it's one of those that about once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, I'll just text him or say, "Got a call," boom. And are we? Am I going crazy, or are you seeing this as well? Because we're both we lean the same exact way politically, and it's one of those things that. Not everything are we in agreement on, but it's one of those where I just look and I go, I wish I had hair to pull it out. Brian's based in Raleigh, North Carolina. He does Pick Up the Six podcast. He does a phenomenal job on that. I highly, highly recommend it. Jodas, what do you want to say first before we jump into some things?
All right. Shout out Craig Hannum. I pulled this book off the shelf as you guys were talking, the things they carry.
Oh, there you go.
Serious moment first. Thoughts and prayers to your community, the family, and all that. This is a phenomenal book, and he's right about that. So pull that right off shelf. So shout out to Craig Hannum. Hey, how does this dress make me look? Honey, I got to tell you, there's a couple things that you have that I really like that I think I prefer. And why don't we try something else on tonight just to see what the feel is like? So there's always ways around that. But look, your mother sounds like a saint. She's doing the best she can with what she had, right?
Yeah.
The fish store is the aquarium. That's a new one by me. Haven't heard that, right? The pet store.
Oh, yeah.
As the zoo, that's a new one. So a lot to unpack, my friend. And you're right. We have a lot of similar opinions that relate to things. And sometimes it is like, look at all this stuff going on. Like, am I seeing this the same way you are? And so we'll unpack some of that tonight, I think.
Okay, so I'm going to show you a video. And this is coming from the side that says El Trumpo is going to put us into World War III. And I've seen so many funny memes on this from who's that one main guy that does them all? I can't remember it right now. Babylon Bee. They have a great one out. So, Jenna, do you have the Zelensky video first? Okay, so for those that are just listening on Spotify and iTunes, we've got Josh Shapiro. He's the governor of Pennsylvania. He's literally autographing missiles that we're giving to Zelensky to go to Ukraine to fight another country, i.e. Russia. Zelensky's in the back. He's got a shit-eating grin on. He's happy as could be. He's like, wow. And these missiles, these bombs, we're assuming they're probably $1 million each minimum, I would say. And the fact, does anyone get like, holy hell, this is kind of a gross vibe where a governor is signing them like he's signing like we're watching, a professional athlete sign his jersey to give to a child. Yeah. Like these bombs are not just going to go kill bad guys. There's no way they're planned that well. These bombs are going to kill innocent people as well. It's impossible not to. Jodas, talk to me. This is one of those, I'm losing it.
Yeah, so this is one of those examples where it's like, where's common sense and where's the smell test? And I'll unpack this on a few different levels. So there's a time and a place in which having that sort of level of gusto and what I even consider patriotism, when it's related to an effort in which your homeland is being attacked and you must seek revenge or take action against your enemy, there's a different thing, right? So if you think about like the global war on terror or even those early days of Desert Storm, you would see activities like this. But when you look at the scenario in which that is happening, I'm like, where's the smell test here? First of all, as far as I can tell, and I'm just a guy, right? The United States is paying to fly Zelensky into battleground states like Pennsylvania to have the governor hold these big sort of photo op moments where that's one of the most pivotal states in the upcoming election. So that feels very weird.
Yeah, he was flown over into Pennsylvania, a key state. He's basically campaigning for Kamala, and he even said, quote, I have right here, JD Vance and El Trumpo, he just said Trump, are too radical and don't know how to stop the war.
Well, and then the commentary is the people that say Donald Trump will start World War III are the ones who are literally signing munitions to go into a country where we are not even really engaged. And so that, again, like I've got a lot of sort of very hard and fast opinions on these things, but then I also try to view it from, dude, what's the smell test on this? Like, could you imagine going back even 10 or 15 years, nay, we say 2030 to Bill Clinton Day Democrats, Jimmy Carter Day Democrats, JFK Day Democrats, and say, could you imagine your party being the one who's doing this? They would be shocked by that. And so for Josh Shapiro to do that and have this sort of happy-go-lucky moment in which we're sending millions, if not billions, of American tax dollars into foreign land where it really at this point has nothing to do with us, that's the part where I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, Joey B just signed another $375 million aid package to Ukraine. So this gets us up to $113 billion. That's with a B, billion dollars we've given to them.
Yeah. And the beauty, man, is listen, America will always do what's right to defend freedom at home and quite frankly, across the globe. We have a undisputed track record of that. And we should take pride in that. There's no doubt about it. But this thing stinks to high heaven, man. The way in which this all feels like it's been orchestrated, right? It doesn't make any sense. And again, it's like, let's put our political ideologies aside. Let's just look at the situation happening. Like, this doesn't make a damn bit of sense that this is happening right now.
Let's just look at it with just I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. Let's just look at it from common sense. Okay. We're giving you, $113 billion. Okay. Nana Mona says, what is there to say? Are you kidding me? Who does this? I can tell you who does it. And Hannum says this war would never have happened if Trump was in office. Putin is scared of him.
No new wars, had everything set up for the Afghan withdrawal. And quite frankly, the Biden administration came in and shit the bed on that one. So this is sort of par for the course at this point, but it doesn't have to be this way.
It doesn't have to be this way. And I think he's coming in, he being Zelensky's coming in to quote unquote, pick up his loot /bomb /campaign, because he knows this is just an outsider looking in. If El Trumpo gets in,
it's cut off. It's cut off, bro. It's cut off. It's cut off.
The water fountain of cash is over. Okay.
And what sucks too, dude, is there are innocent Ukrainians that are caught up in the middle of this unmitigated disaster, and like people are dying, lives are at risk, while this guy looks to me, again, like you outside looking in, looks to me like he's over here glad handing a bunch of politicians signing bombs, like making light of the whole thing. I don't get it.
Yeah, which he is. And like we've had our officials go over there and it's this massive war zone, but they're just cruising around the streets. Yeah, like, weird, what am I missing?
Very weird. It's very weird.
I just don't understand. It's one of those things. It's like to save democracy, we've got to implant someone and remove Joey B.
To save democracy, we have to use the Department of Justice to go after our political opponents. We have to take away people's free speech. We have to limit access to guns while telling people we're gun owners, although we want to take them all away. None of this makes any sense. It's all facade. It's all theater at this point. It's wild and crazy, man. And you're able to run without having to really articulate really any positions, because you just talk about feelings and hope. And I'm from a middle-class family and all this bullshit that doesn't make any sense.
Joy, lots of joy.
Lots of joy.
Okay, well, now we're going to talk about this because Stephanie Ruhle, Rouhle, she was on the Bill Maher show, and she was talking about how Kamala is running a fantastic campaign.
She shouldn't even be running a campaign.
I want you to watch this video. I think it's about 2 minutes long, but this is a world-class, quote unquote, reporter. And listen to what she says that Kamala is doing correct, and it doesn't matter. Watch. Go ahead, play the Ruhle Nirvana video, Jenna.
It's not too much to ask Kamala, say, are you for a Palestinian state if Hamas is going to run that state?
Okay.
Yes or no?
And let's say you don't like her answer. Are you going to vote for Donald Trump?
No, I'm not.
Kamala
I just said I'm not going to vote
is
for
not
her.
running for perfect. She's running against Trump. We have two choices. And so there are some things you might not know her answer to. And in 2024, unlike 2016 for a lot of the American people, we know exactly what Trump will do, who he is, and the kind of threat he is to democracy.
I don't know
So it's
her-
unclear to me how there could be an informed...
The problem that a lot
Christopher. Boy, I can't make sense of why anyone would want to try to shoot the former president. You just called him a threat to democracy.
Well, and I want you to make me, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to take this to third grade level. I want you to make me some pizza. You make it however you want, but I'm not allowed to ask you any. I'm not allowed to. You're not allowed to answer any of my questions. So, are you putting dog shit on the pizza? You don't have to answer because I don't want to know the answer. Like, does that make sense? Where she's saying just because she's not giving you an answer doesn't mean you need that answer. Yes, honey, that's exactly what I need because I'm trying to find out should I vote for this person to be the most powerful person on the planet. But she's literally saying, "quote You might not know what her answer is." That's literally the point of the question.
Yeah, it's a massive ideological shift in the media over the last 10 to 20 years, where there was always this idea that journalists, even with their bias, right? I have to imagine Walter Cronkite and even these old school guys, they still knew kind of who they would vote for if they had to go into a ballot box, right? But that skepticism across the board, candidly, it just feels like it's few and far between, where now it's all just opinion based and it's all entertainment and it's all these kind of things where that's an in-kind donation to Kamala Harris. Now, I can tell you that those things happen on the other side as well, but it feels like it's just so much more on this one side. And yeah, my hubris and my personal bias probably shows, but when you stack up all the media clips and you stack up all these people claiming that this one person, who, by the way, was a duly elected president of the United States, and quite frankly, got historical numbers of votes the second time that he ran. Like, when you start saying, existential threat to democracy, all of these things, like, that doesn't help move any of this thing forward. And it's the reason why the guy took a bullet off the ear and some other wacko tried to shoot him again, right? Luckily, they were able to thwart that. Like, something wildly terrible is going to happen, and it almost did because of these things. He should have been shot over the summer. Thank God he wasn't, because of this kind of language. And that's where, like, as Americans, you have to just look. I get it. Like, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump on November the 5th, and that's the way it's going to be for me. But even if you're not, we have to be like, some of this stuff is too much. And candidly, like, there's a lot of things he says where I'm like, dude, I wish you could walk that back. I wish you wouldn't say that.
100%.
I wish you don't have to do that. I'm like, dude, you will absolutely win when you run on these things. But also, I can also check that and say, well, since the guy was elected, the Department of Justice has come after him. They've done Russia collusion. They've done all these things against him. They've tried to lock him up, and now they're trying to kill him. And all he can do is fight back. All he can do is fight back.
The one that always gets me too is he's going to do all this when he becomes president. He's a dictator, blah, blah. Guys, we've already had the trial run. We did the dress rehearsal. He was already president.
Gas prices were low. No new wars.
Those things.
Inflation was not like this, right? Our border was protected, right? I mean, and then they quite frankly, they manufacture this pandemic and then they try to throw that in his face. Like, it's all just. And I think my hope is most Americans like, so I look at it this way, a tent, right? Like, you go to a wedding, you have these big white party tents, right? Mm-hmm. And they're very pointed in the middle, and the pole in the middle is the tallest, but you have the poles on the edge that get it.
Yeah.
Right? So the fringe are the poles on the edge, hard right, hard left. You have to have a fringe or else the tent is, but everybody here is still kind of in the middle. That's most Americans that keep the tent afloat. And my thought would be, if you sat around, you had real conversations like this, people would be like, some of this stuff doesn't pass the smell test. I really wish this guy wouldn't talk this way, but if you unbiasedly look at it, it was better 4 years ago. And then what's also crazy is she's now, after a coup, she's now like, well, put me in office and I'll make things better. It's like, well, what have you been doing for the last 4 years? This doesn't make any sense.
My last thing that I'm going to cover with you is,
I can do this all night, bro. I know you got.
No, I got This clip cracks me up. She has yet to do a full press conference. She hasn't done one. It's been 72 days since she was appointed. She's done 2 live interviews, or not taped interviews, not live, nothing live. The first interview was with Tim Walz, so she needed a blanket for that one, basically. This was the one
which by the way, where are the professionals? Where are the adults in the room? I've been in public relations media my entire life, but I've never run a presidential campaign. And I would sit there and say, this looks weird. Why is she in the middle? Why is she so much smaller than him? Why is his collar out? You had hours, if not days, to prepare for that. What are you doing?
Exactly. I have a better studio right here. Right. And I'm in an office. And it's okay. So she just got another powder, cream puff, whatever you want to call it, interview with Oprah. And I want to play.
Oh, geez. Let all the Hollywood elites. How many Diddy parties did all these sickos go to, by the way?
Nailed it. I want to play for you her final statement. So this was, her canned statement of what's going on. And I want you, because you're a smart man, I'm a smart man as well. We've got Jenna and Hannah, I think, still in the back. I want you guys to tell me how many extra words are said here, number one, and what the hell is actually being said. Jenna, 155 video, please.
Hello, Madam Vice President.
You live in Michigan.
No, not that one. That's the question video. That's a good one, too.
I bet that would have been a good one, too.
Oh, that's a good one.
I love our country. I love our country. I know we all do. That's why everybody's here right now. We love our country. We take pride in the privilege of being American. And this is a moment where we can and must come together as Americans, understanding we have so much more in common than what separates us. Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be. And we believe in fighting for that. That's how we came into being, because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism, is to fight for the ideals of who we are, which includes freedom to make decisions about your own body, freedom to be safe from gun violence, freedom to have access to the ballot box, freedom to be who you are and just be, to love who you love openly and with pride, freedom to just be. And that's who we are. We believe in all that. And so this is a moment where we stand knowing what we are fighting for. We're not fighting against. It's what we're fighting for.
Thank you. Thank you.
For those that are listening on iTunes and Spotify right now, I feel like I've just been beaten up. My mouth is it ajar? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Jodis, I think, was praying throughout. I'm not sure.
Listen, man, and like
dumber listening to that.
So I get the idea of wanting to use that platform to be powerful and emotional and try to emotionally connect with the audience. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I miss Ronald Reagan. I miss the way Ronald Reagan would have orated hope and vision for the country while also actually talking about tangible things that we can do. And she got into a couple sort of policy things there. I mean, they're not things I agree with, but she talks about sort of freedom of reproduction and some other to love who you love. And so there are some things in there.
Some nuggets.
But like, so she repeats herself all the time, which tells me when you repeat yourself all the time, you don't know where you're going next. You say something twice because you know what you're going to say next. You say something twice because you don't know. Right. Yeah, and candidly, like to have a little fun at her, it's very Michael Scott-esque. Sometimes I just start a sentence and I don't know where I'm going. So the problem is there doesn't appear to be, I want to make this point. I want to connect to the next one. And I want to close it with this. Now, granted, Trump, when I watch his speeches, has a tendency to go from point to point and then diverge. but
Oh,
he
yeah.
does at least come back, and he's able to at least get back to the points he's trying to make. And then the largest problem I have with a couple things. One, she shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. We all knew Joe Biden was declining for the last 3 years. They hid it from everyone. They did a coup to replace him. So let's use that as a preference. Like, wow, this is all crazy enough. But even that aside, Oprah just sits there acting as if she's listening to William Shakespeare or George Washington or the great orators of her time. And so that's why the average American probably watches that and is like, this is bullshit. All of this is theatrical bullshit. I don't trust any of this. At least that's how I feel.
Did you see Oprah's face at about 3/4 of the way in? She just kind of turned to the camera and was like, oh, right. This is still going. Like it's happening. Right. And I have to pay attention. And like you said, it was like she was listening to the 1812 overture for the first time. Okay. It's just one of the Dave Bradley.
Well, and Dave's point is, so when you speak in those sort of grandiose emotional terms and you say things like her catchphrase of, we got to know where we unburdened by what has been, you're taking real policy out. You're trying to push these sort of socialist, people tell you Marxist ideas where it's just everything's good for everybody. And the sooner you lose your individualism, which is what makes America great, sort of your individual freedom, then we're all in this thing together, right? And then we can live on hopes and dreams. So we can't live on hopes and dreams. We have to be able to live on affordable gas and affordable groceries and safe borders and being a power across the world. Like if we don't, then we will crumble. And this experiment of America is still relatively young in the grand scheme of things. And to think that we can't fall if we don't get these things in check would be naive.
Well, yeah, no, you've never read about the Roman Empire? I mean,
there we go. I hadn't thought much about the Roman Empire today. Most days I think about it at least 3 or 4 times, and here we are.
But it's one of those things that, and I was just talking to a buddy about this morning. She's got that vibe to me of like, if I flew to your house, Raleigh, North Carolina right now, and put me in the living room, and then you said, Rubio, I want you to give me a verbal tour of every room. And I just got there literally 4 seconds before. Right. So, the kitchen's over here and you could cook things in the kitchen, and there's probably a fridge in the kitchen. And she's like the fifth grader who got assigned a book report and didn't read the book. Yeah. And like I said, I feel bad for her because I think she's a puppet. I think she's one of those people that she's very insecure in her own skin, if I'm looking at it the correct way, because she's just so uncomfortable. I think she knows, what is it called? Imposter syndrome, where she knows she shouldn't be there. It's kind of like, I know I shouldn't be here. I'm really not qualified. I haven't done much. If you look back upon it, what are my selling points right now? I'm Black, I'm a female, I'm the VP, but I was hired as a DEI hire, and that you can call me racist for you want, but that's a fact. Like that Joey B even said that. Put a bow on this, Jonas, because I'm going to go to the next segment.
Yeah, well, listen, brother, it's always great to hang out with you and talk. Shout out again to Craig Hannum for the powerful conversation you guys had before this. And we've had some fun, but we've also touched on stuff that we think is very serious, right? That matters to us. It's when you look at the landscape, when you look at how we got here, I try to put my sort of my lens of the world, I can't help but view it that way. I just look back over the last 3 or 4 years. I look back at when Trump and Biden ran against each other. It was clear as day to me and a lot of people, right? Millions of Americans, that Joseph Biden was unfit to be president based on his mental capacity and what I thought was his waning physical state. They hid that for years. She's able to then just slide in and run sort of this very skeleton campaign with a few months to go. That to me, it doesn't fly. And whether or not you like the guy or he makes you feel icky or whatever, I know what I knew happened during those 4 years as it related to the economy, our strength across the nation, the way in which we took out bad guys, the way in which we weren't attacked, the border. Like, I know the way in which all those things worked, and I saw him put those priorities in place. And you might not like the way he talks, but for me personally, I know that guy will put American priorities first. And I just look at it and I'm like, it's too much. I said it from the beginning. It just doesn't pass the smell test.
100%. Jodas, make sure everyone checks out Brian Jodas. Should pick up the 6 podcast. It's phenomenal. Jodas, I really appreciate you. I'm going to the next segment right off the bat. Jodas, thank you, man. Working hard is not enough. All right. So, Jenna, you have that picture for me of Russell Wilson. I saw this picture today, and it kind of warmed my heart. Because you got Russell Wilson. He's a third string quarterback for the Steelers now. He used to be the first string quarterback at the Seattle Seahawks. That's my team, about 5 hours west of here. And this is a big thing for me, because if those that have been watching the show for a long, long time know that Damon Dale, when he was 2, he had to go to the Seattle Children's Hospital. And I remember this was when Russell was there. And the whole thing was he might show up to visit the kids, because he did it every single Tuesday. We never got to see him, which was unfortunate / fortunate, because we weren't, I didn't want to be there a year to where we saw him. We were only there for a month. It felt like a long time. But I want to know why more athletes don't do stuff like this. I know it takes away from his free time, and I know he's probably redoing it right now, because I know when he was at Seattle, he used to do it every Tuesday. I'm talking every Tuesday. But then when he became a little bit more big time, and he didn't do it as much, and now that he's no longer big time, he's kind of doing it back again. I don't know if he's trying to fix his image, but still, it's a good thing. So I have to high five him on that one. But I also wanted to bring up Reed Ferguson. I would say 99% of you have no idea who Reed Ferguson is, and he's been playing in the NFL for probably, I think it's 8 years at this point. He's a wily veteran. And it's great that you don't know who he is, because he's a long snapper. I've coached him since I think a freshman year in high school. Great human being, great patriot. He's a great family man, comes from an excellent, excellent core family. They are just fantastic all the way from Kevin to Tracy to Blake. I think that's they don't have any more, I don't think. And Reed, they just do a great job. And I just saw a video that I wanted to promote of him. So Jenna, play this video of Reed Ferguson.
What's up, everybody? Reed Ferguson here. Just want to let you guys know my wife had some awesome shirts made of yours truly, and she posted them online. Some friends and myself reposted them, and a bunch of people reached out. She had a bunch of people reach out to her, and I did myself, about wanting to buy some. And so we wanted to do something fun and partner with a charity. So we have partnered up with Gigi's Playhouse. They are a Down Syndrome Achievement Center offering programs for career services, educational programs, therapeutic programs, from prenatal all the way to adulthood. So we're donating the proceeds from these shirts, if you want to buy one online, to Gigi's Playhouse. So they come in all sizes, shirts and hoodies, whatever you want to buy. So I'll be posting the link in the video, and would appreciate it. Go Bills!
So shout out to Reed Ferguson, gigisplayhouse.org, Gigi's Playhouse.org. Absolutely phenomenal. They do great things. Their mission and purpose is to change the way the world views Down syndrome and to send a global message of acceptance for all. What a great, great topic. What a great, great thing. I know everyone probably knows at least one person in their life that has Down syndrome, and just the nicest damn people you ever met. Shout out to Blaze. What's up, buddy? So I just wanted to shout out to Reed. I think that's a great idea. Make sure you check him out on Instagram. So if you're looking for the link, it'd be great if you guys could purchase some shirts. I know I'm going to as well. Let's go to the final segment. Confidence is the key. Bring on my main man, AC. AC of AC Sports Live, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, X, everything. Fantastic. Bear Essentials is saying great segment. Brian Jodas, well done. AC, thank you for coming on, my man.
Thanks for having me, Groups.
Absolutely. Now, the thing about AC, very good friend. I love this guy. He and I do not agree on a lot of things, which is great. I like that about us, because politically we're way all over the place, religiously all over the place. But AC is one of the nicest people, where he lets me ask him stupid questions. I say stupid questions. I know he doesn't think they're stupid questions. But the best one, what was the one I gave you? It was like noon, and it was, what's the difference between faith and hope? Was that it? Faith or blessing or?
Yeah, it was something like that. Faith and hope, and it was just kind of like hope is not even like that tangible. Like, I forgot the answer was, but we were trying to get Cruz somewhere that he could get beyond whatever he was going through. And it was just kind of like, just go do stuff, man. Quit thinking about it. Quit dreaming and go make something happen.
Yeah, but dude, the example you gave was like me kicking a 40-yard field goal or me snapping or something like that. And I was like, that's exactly it. He dumbed it down perfectly for me.
If I hope that I can kick this field goal, but if Chris Saylor kicks it, I got faith that he's going to make it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So AC and I are back, Ralph, for those that are first-time watchers or listeners. AC and I played together at UCLA. Go Bruins, even though they're having a very rough time right now, and it's hard to be a Bruin right now.
Very hard.
And we both have children that play college football. Humble brag to both of us. Shout out to AC Squared in San Jose with a tough loss about 30 miles up the road for me. Double overtime. That place is not easy to play at. And shout out to Cruz and Ritz at Montana State, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, even though Cruz is an old man now, he's graduated. I wanted to talk about it to AC. Okay, so I'm just giving you our chops. We've got enough, what is it, foot in the game, things like that. What the hell is happening with college football right now?
I'm going to change sports, the AAU basketball culture. I blame it's up to the parents at this point. What did you raise? You raised a quitter. And it goes back to the ability to change schools. If you don't instill in our young people at an earlier age that you work for what you get. It's all, fine and dandy when you are rewarding kids for their achievements and giving them praise for what they've accomplished. But when you fast forward this entitlement generation we live in, you're going to get what you see in this NIL transfer portal debacle, if you want to call it that. I'm all for compensation. If you are bringing value to the university and they're making billions, I think there should be some type of compensation. I think that's good. Shout out to Ed O'Bannon and Ramogi Huma, fellow Bruins, who started this whole, player compensation thing in NCAA sports. Of course, people are not happy about it all the way around the board, but this is where we are. My problem with today's NFL football, not NFL, but college football landscape is the movement, like the ability to be a free agent. Like when we were in school, Rubes, if you transfer, you're done for 2 years. Like you can't play if you just keep jumping ship.
Yeah, now let me break it down for people that don't know. Okay, so when AC and I played, which he just told me it was like 30 years ago, which I refuse to believe that. To me, it seems like 5 years. If you transferred, so say I'm at UCLA, all of a sudden I don't like UCLA, and I'm going to transfer to say USC, God forbid, okay, because it's 11 miles down the road, it's still near in Los Angeles. You would have to sit out an entire year. Okay. And then I think you'd have to redshirt or something like that. So transferring was very looked down upon. Like it was a death sentence. You might as well be at SMU with Eric Dickerson. It was a death sentence. You were done. Game over. Now with the NIL, for those that don't know, that's name, image, likeness. And I'm for it because when we went to school, we used to get scholarship checks. I think my scholarship check was $960 or something like that. And now the kids it's way more than that. But now you can get a name, image, likeness. So now people say, well, a scholarship check should be enough. But let me give you an example. Say AC, he makes that fantastic interception against USC. They blow up the picture. He signs the picture. They're selling it in the student store for $1,000 a pop. Back in the day, AC would make no money off that. Okay. If we had a star player, say like Cade McNown, I think he was number 10, they would sell number 10 jerseys. Eight. Was it 8?
18,
yeah. What the hell do I know? 10 and 8. Okay. They would sell 18 jerseys, but they couldn't put his name along the back. But everyone knew it was Cade McNown's jersey. It was a no-brainer. Now they're saying, okay, AC, you're allowed to sign that beautiful picture. And if you sell it for $1,000, you make $1,000 in addition to your scholarship check. The problem is now, and let me give you some numbers, AC. Ohio State last year alone spent $20 million in name, image, likeness. They said, okay, our quarterback's going to require at least $4 million. Our defense, our left offensive tackle, because he's going to protect him, that's a $3 million guy. And the funny thing is, I wanted to have AC on Monday, but I think a Sunday or Monday I texted you. And then the next day, UNLV's starting quarterback, and they're 3-0, and they're pretty good right now. He says, I'm out. I'm redshirting. I'm transferring. And the reason why it comes out, because he was promised $100,000 and they had only given him $3,000. So he said, this is BS. I'm out. So AC, my question to you after my long rant is this kid an ass for wanting more money, or his parents' asses for making him think like this? Or is the school an ass for promising and not giving it?
Again, the adults in the room. This kid was promised $100,000. Whether he got it or not, there are reports now that he got his money. He just wants more. His agent is seeing there are dollar signs out there for a starting quarterback of this caliber who came from Holy Cross. No one saw him play. He played 3 games. Now he has film. Now I can shop you wherever I want to shop you. Why run the risk of getting injured? So now we don't know who's telling the truth. There has been money exchanged, but at the same time, the fundamental truth is this kid wants more money because someone told him he's worth more money. If you're an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid and you're getting a couple of bucks on the side and adults are telling you what you're going to be, you kind of go with the flow of this. There's some adult here trying to spin this whole thing into some more money. And you see the kid from USC just jump ship because someone told him he's going to get more money. So I just know there are people in these kids' ears, man, you are worth more than this. Why are you playing? And that's why kids stop playing in bowl games, because they've been told this is not worth it. And you're this good. You're a 5-star player. You should be getting this. And you say, you know what? And then you have this situation. Now you're gonna stomp on the kid, or the kid's name's gonna be trash. The kid's not gonna play in the NFL now because now he's known as a team hopper. He's known as a quitter or a person who's going to capitalize on his name, image, and likeness in the moment. Forget the team. It's all about me. So his character is taking hits daily when he might have been just a kid who just wants to play. We don't know.
The kid you're talking about from USC, here's a fun little stat for you. I think his name is Bear Alexander. If his real name is Bear, that's phenomenal. Well, shout out to his parents. In 2018, he was in Terrell High School in Texas. 2019, Skyline High School in Texas. 2020, Denton High School in Texas. 2021, IMG Academy in Florida. 2022, Georgia. 2023, USC. 2024, 3 games at USC, self-redshirt. That's the last 7 years of his life. Are you hiring this guy just to work to clean chalkboards? No, this guy has got no loyalty to anything.
It's a pattern. Again, back to AAU basketball. Kids are jumping ship because mom is not happy with his playing time. And why are you coaching my son so hard? I'm going to go over here where it's easy. It's just the same fabric that we're seeing with these young. I'm not starting. You gave me $2.5 million to come here and I'm not starting. Well, apparently you're not, as a 5-star, you're not as good as a guy we have here. So you're going to rotate. Oh, I don't want that, because it's just their ego. The thought that they could make more money elsewhere. I mean, we're seeing guys transfer and not play.
Oh, 100%.
And it's just like, well, the grass is never greener. I'm almost thankful that we grew up in the era we grew up in. Of course, I would have loved to got a couple dollars here and there. But when I had to go through my mess that I wasn't playing, and when Coach Donahue, rest in peace, told me that if you don't do what I say, you won't play here. It wasn't about my ability. It was about a disagreement. He was going to sit me my entire career because I didn't do what he asked me to do my redshirt freshman year. And he wasn't going to tell me this until I went to the other coaches and asked him what's going on. So it's like this is why I hate politics, because politics happen on a different level in the world of athletics. Is just like, you know how it is. Rube, you were talking about some kid who was supposed to be starting long snapper and he wasn't. Politics are real, man. People pick who they want in position to be the face or whatever it is, the same ability. So that's why I cringe at politics, is it's all a show. When you're talking about the quarterback, you can see the best quarterback is on the bench and you still won't see him play because he didn't get the signing bonus the other kid got.
Well, and you want to talk about signing bonuses. I don't know if you saw this today. Dave Portnoy, the owner of Barstool Sports, he came out today and literally said, I want Michigan to be a top-tier team, because he went to the Michigan Wolverines with Tom Brady. He goes, I want to be a top-tier team. I am right now saying I will donate $3 million per year to get an elite transfer quarterback. I mean, we're not moving forward here. This is spiraling into, we joke about the Wild Wild West. This is past that.
I was at the UCLA NIL meeting, and Deshaun Foster tried to put a couple of us together and said, hey, man, we're trying to raise $500,000. And I laughed. I said, $500,000, we're going to get our heads whooped. In the Big Ten, we can't afford. I mean, our backup gunner on punt team is going to be worth $500,000. We're going to need millions. I mean, you're going to have to dig deep because the SEC has been doing this for 50 years. We're behind. As you can see, we may not win we may not win 3 games in the Big Ten. We might not win a game the rest of the year, Rubes. It's that bad as far as talent discrepancy. It just looks bad. We got to cheat. We got to get some guys in school that can't qualify. we're going to have to do some stuff to get back in the. I mean, it's crazy because Deshaun Foster does not have the support that the young man that you just spoke about say, well, I want to make sure Michigan is tops. Here's $3 million. Nobody's doing that for UCLA football. Maybe basketball because we get a 5-star here and there, but we're never going to get a 5-star recruit. We lost our only 5-star recruit last year when Chip ran the quarterback off. The Moore kid who went to Oregon. He's sitting the bench in Oregon, and he's getting $1 million. So it's just crazy right now, man.
It is. And AC, I was hoping you were going to make me a little bit more optimistic about the whole thing because you're always such a cheerful guy, but I feel more negative about it. I just feel like I don't know. They opened the gates to do it, and they didn't have any restrictions at all. You know, I think it could be done very easily. Here's my theory on it. I'm sure I've told you. We'll end on this. You get as much NIL money as you want. You get it when you graduate. You get a little per diem. So say you get AC2 gets $2,000 a month spending cash. So he gets his froyo, his movie theater, whatever, blah blah. You can do that, or you make another $5,000. I don't care. But he signed $20 million NIL. As soon as you graduate, you get that money. The transfer rule's got to go back to the old transfer rule. They have to kill the transfer rule. You can't just hop around. All right. And then someone's going to say, well, I'm going to go to NFL. I'm not going to graduate. Then you don't need the money if you're going to the NFL. Or everything can be done online. Just hire some kid to take your classes for you, for the love of God.
Oh man, it has to happen. I mean, like I said, I don't want it to end, but I want it to be done right. Kids need a certain amount. I mean, we were broke in college, and it wasn't even funny. We were hungry on scholarship because when there's no training table, and you live in Westwood, there is no scholarship check. That rent is eating that scholarship check up so fast. As soon as you get it, it's gone. So I'm all for the players getting a chunk. And it just had to go here, but it's like reparations in America. I'm not going to get anything. But if my kids can live a life where they wouldn't need that, then so be it. But if my ancestors worked for free, what are we doing here? We've pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps, as they say, and now we're here. So let them get as much as they can get. However, the transferring is a bad way of going about things. It's not instilling the things that sports are supposed to instill in the 79 to 98% of students, athletes who are not going pro. Like you need to learn to go to work. You may not like your job, but until you get your career, you got to go to work. Because if this was if we're talking about 9 to 5 regular working Americans, and you don't like what you're being paid because you agree to this amount, and you decide, oh, I'm not working today, you don't get paid, bro. And then the next job, you're not going to get hired because your last job, I heard that you walked off because you weren't getting what you wanted. So we're making a bunch of problems, a bunch of entitled, spoiled brats in what we're doing. So limit the transfers to one transfer. I agree. Give them a stipend of the money that they, agreed to, so they don't have to live it up, and put some stipulations on how much they can have now and put it into some kind of trust so that they are done playing ball. They have some money to start their life with. They haven't spent it all on Lamborghinis like in Texas, where the players all get leased Lamborghinis by their time in Texas. And then as soon as they're done playing, they strip them of the car they had. Now you're living back at home with grandma. So it's a tough time. It's unfortunate, but it's just the beginning, man. These kids are going to start jumping ship. I mean, it's crazy. When we were redshirting the fourth game, me, Eric Holcomb, we were sitting there wondering if are we playing? Because am I playing this year? Because I'm not going to get any playing time. But if I get in the game, my season's gone, and I'm not getting any money. So yeah, it's a tough time, man. But the rich get richer, and then some teams are so rich the players don't want to play anymore. Look at Florida State. They get the same payroll as Clemson and Alabama, and they can't win a game. So it's bad. It's bad.
AC of AC Sports Live. You can see him Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Very similar sports talk like this. I'm not on with him, but I'm chiming in all the time. AC of AC Sports Live. Thanks, brother.
Thank you, guys.
All right, let's go, Jenna, to the final segment. This is the bottom line. The bottom line for all you new watchers and listeners on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and X. This is just stuff that you should have learned without even realizing you learned it. Number one, your life is simply not all about you. Your life is simply not all about you. It goes back to the conversation that I had with Craig Hannum. That poor kid decided to take his own life, and his life is over. He was just a child. He was a baby. Now think of all the people around him that it has affected. 1,200 students, his friends, his family, the entire community is talking about it. Hannum and I talked about it for 20 minutes a day. Your life is simply not about you. Stop being, quote unquote, so selfish. Think of others as well. Number 2, can we all just have some common sense? Can we all just have some common sense? And like Brian Joda said, let's just, how's it taste? Let's do a smell test on certain things. Just have some common sense. And number 3, the bigger your platform, the better you should be to others. This goes to shout out to Reed Ferguson, doing great things for Gigi's Playhouse. Shout out to Reed Ferguson. Make sure you check him out on Instagram. The bigger your platform, the better you should be to others. Jenna, we did it. You had a good time, I'm hoping. This is the longest show we've ever done, Jenna. Jesus, an hour and 11 minutes. On that note, I'm out.
Thanks for watching The Rubio Method. Be sure to spread the word, and don't forget to subscribe, like, or follow on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Twitter, LinkedIn,